Hello everybody and welcome to race 3 of round 5, here at the Dubai Autodrome. This is our third and final race of the Golf Radical Cup. Well, this thing's a little bit different from what we did yesterday because, of course, yesterday we had two 25-minute races. Today we have the endurance round, which, of course, is a 45-minute race. There's a bit more strategy to play here in this race because, of course, there is one mandatory pit stop that all teams must do at sort of the halfway point. Now, during that time, all cars must be stationary for at least 45 seconds. However, due to their top 5 finishing positions in the previous endurance race, 5 of our drivers will have to be stationary for additional time. 2 of those drivers will sit on the front row of the grid. Ian Aguilera is once again on pole position here in Dubai Autodrome. But alongside him is championship leader Alex Bukunstov. He hasn't been feeling well over the past couple of days, and it's great to see him back in full form. During qualifying yesterday, he was doing 223s. Today, he's back on form with a 203, which was fast enough to put him on the second row of the grid, on the first row of the grid in second position, just ahead of the fast drivers like Luke Hilton, Usman Magal, and the rest of the field. Now, of course, behind me, the Radicals will start forming up. They're just doing their outlap from the pit lane here. But, of course, things are getting interesting with the championship battle as well. So we said yesterday, Usman Magal was about two race victories behind Alex Bukunstov. However, with countback, when we nullify at least 2 of the race results, the sprint races and one of the endurance races, Usman Magal is only around 10 points behind Alex Bukunstov. So this championship fight is still open, and we still have 2 rounds to go after this, round 6 and, of course, round 7. Round 7 is where things are going to get very interesting because, of course, we have double points on offer. For the sprint races, it's 15 points for a race victory. That means you get 30 points for a race victory round 7. But in the endurance round, it is 25 points for a total of 50 points. So all is going to play for in round 7, and that's where they want the best results. Now, the cars are not going to line up behind us just yet. They'll probably go through the pit lane just one more time here. Actually, they're being released now through pit lane. So we'll see the grid behind us fill up only momentarily. But as we said, we'll try and get a quick word with Ian Aguilera when he slots in again. This, of course, is his third pole position of the weekend, and he could be on track for his 4th win in a row, because looking at the standings, he actually won the final race in Yas a few weeks ago. That's when he got his first victory. He had 2 yesterday. Could he make it 3 for 3? Can he make it a perfect race weekend? We'll have to find out. Of course, with Alex Bukunstov lining up alongside you, makes things a bit more difficult. But then when you've got Luke Hilton and a slew of other cars who are veterans of the championship, well, things get even more difficult here in the Golf Radical Cup. But today we have 13 cars that will take the Grand Prix circuit configuration here at the Dubai Autodrome, and things are going to get very, very interesting. Now, we can hear the cars going around. It's about 5.3-ish kilometers in length here at the Dubai Autodrome. And, of course, if you're here trackside, if you're in the grandstand, or if you're in the paddock area, after we formed up the grid, during the 45 minutes, why not head over to the Apex Garden and enjoy the atmosphere? You can see some great sights through turn 14, turn 15 as well. It's a great opportunity to get up close and see some of the cars a lot closer than you'd actually see them anywhere else. Plus, there's food trucks down there as well. And don't forget to check the viewing platform as well. It's a new facility that they built, and, of course, it gives you great views all the way from Sector 2 all the way through to the Bowl Complex. And, well, we'll try and head over there shortly, but I think we'll probably wait for the cars to arrive here first. And it does take a bit of time here, to be honest. But we will keep in touch as we can. While we do this, why don't we see if we can actually find someone to interview while we're on the grid. Now, I'm looking for any of the officials from the championship, but they're doing a very good job of hiding away from me. I can see George King over there, former champion in the Golf Radical Cup. Of course, he is here doing driver coaching for Amir Faisalin. We'll see if we can actually get him in the commentary box as well, because it'd be great to have his insights to the championship. He's just talking to Alex Jacobs as well, one of the officials. Fred Jacobs is joining the conversation as well. And I know that they're staying that far away from me because they don't want to talk to me right now. Not because we have bad beef, it's just they just want to talk on camera. But we'll wait and see to see if we can get that. And let's see who our first car to arrive on the grid. Well, it would have been one of the Leighton House cars, but they have gone back through into the pit lane because, of course, with the Golf Radical Cup, they're allowed to go through the pit lane on their outlap to go around one more time. So it does take a little bit of time here to fill up the grid, but as you can see, the cars are starting to form up here. Luke Hilton is the first one to arrive on the scene. That's the 32 car. He was in contention for a race victory in race number 1 yesterday, but unfortunately a fuel pump issue was the reason he stopped on the back straight just after turn 9. Now that fuel pump issue actually came back to haunt him earlier this morning during qualifying. It was one reason why we had the red flag, but great to see the team have done a fantastic job to get Luke Hilton back on track and into position here. He lines up alongside Alim Geshev. He was one of the drivers that was really vying for a race victory yesterday, just wasn't close enough to the back bumper of those in front of him. Ian Aguilera did a great job of escaping up the road. But let's have a quick chat now, if we can, with Luke Hilton and maybe talk about this fuel pump issue that he's been facing here. Luke is one of the latest drivers to enter the championship. He was here a couple of weeks ago. He made his debut. He actually won on his debut race weekend as well. Luke, it's not been a great weekend for you with the fuel pump issues, but the team have done a phenomenal job of getting you back out there. Do you think the fuel pump is going to be an issue again in this third race?
I hope not. I'd like to think that we could see through this race, because yesterday in race 1, you know, had such a great run, got a great start, led the race, I don't know how by many seconds, but it looked like quite a big gap from where I was. But then, you know, coming through turn 9, it just cut out, and I was like, oh no, here we go. So I switched the car off, tried to restart, and it just wouldn't start, so that was my day over. And then my team amazingly managed to bring the car back alive for race 2, but you know, the car was just not there because we had the wrong setup. And I was just really struggling, so the whole race I was having to manage, you know. So fingers crossed this race goes our way, you know, it'd be lovely. But we'd have to see.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Luke, and good luck. Unfortunately, as you said, fuel pump issues there, but of course the team have done a fantastic job of Valor Racing to get him back out there. Now, Alim Geshev is here, but who I really want to talk to is Usman Magal, because he is one of our championship hopefuls here. He's the one that wants to outscore Alex Bukunstov, but with Usman Magal starting a little bit further through the field, it's going to be quite difficult to get past the likes of Alim Geshev, Luke Hilton, and of course Ian Aguilera, but getting anywhere close to Alex Bukunstov, it's been very, very tough this weekend. Despite him not feeling the best over the course of the past 5 days or so, even in qualifying, he didn't really have to do it. You know, he's a very rapid driver, and we saw what he could do, because on the first race, in the first corner, he went from dead last to second position. He literally carved his way through the field. As we see more cars now making their way towards our position here, including the pole sitter, Ian Aguilera, who, of course, is looking to make it 3 for 3 here this weekend. He's actually going to slot in just behind our camera position here. So he pulls in, but we're still waiting for Usman Magal in the 21 car, and that's who I'm waiting for. I really want to have a chat with him to get his thoughts of going into this third and final race of the day, because, of course, for him, there's a lot at stake here, and especially with Alex Bukunstov starting at least one car in front of him. That's one car he has to get past. If we counter in Luke Hilton, that's another car, so that's a total of 2. Then get to the back bumper of Alex Bukunstov, that's 3, and that is no easy man to pass there at all or get anywhere close to. Now let's go over to Usman Magal and have a quick chat with him, because of course, championship hopeful here with the points that will be removed at the end of the season. That of course is down to them which rounds they want to remove. He is mathematically within a chance of winning the championship. And that also means a lot of the other drivers are also within a chance of the championship. But Usman, we had a brief chat earlier on. I know you said we probably didn't have enough time, but I always make time for you. You know, so championship hopeful here. You've got Alim Geshev in front of you, Alex Bukunstov with just one car ahead. We know that you're extremely fast at the early stages. Turn 1 thoughts, what is it going to be?
Well, so far it hasn't really worked out this weekend at Dubai Autodrome, but we got a third chance of getting a good start, so we'll go for it.
So you were telling me with the rounds that you're going to deduct at the end of the season, you're probably at the moment about 10 points behind Bukunstov. Now, obviously, the end goal here is to get past him, be in the front of him at the end of the 45 minutes. But of course, with an endurance round, it's a little bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of points at stake in this race, so it's quite important to finish ahead of him. But you know, we'll just see how it unfolds. He's got a success penalty and I haven't, so it could make it very interesting.
Thanks, Usman, for talking to us, and good luck. Let's see if we can get a quick word as well with, you know what, we don't really speak to Amir Faison very often. Amir is one of the drivers that's very, very quick, and he's gotten progressively better over the course of the years that I've seen him race here. He's currently talking to his driver coach, George King, who will see if we can grab a word with him, maybe upstairs in the commentary box. But maybe they're having a bit of debrief, so we might leave them there to do their bidding and just kind of George King giving his final insights, just his championship knowledge. Of course, George King knows this field very well as well. He knows a lot about these cars and everything like this, but so does Amir. He's raced in the likes of Radical in the United Kingdom. He raced here for a number of years as well. Let's see if we can get a quick word. Amir, It's great to see. We don't always get a chance to speak to you very often. You've got a great opportunity here starting on the third row of the grid. Talk us through what's going to happen down towards turn one.
I don't. It's very difficult to expect now.
No worries.
I hope everything will be okay.
Thanks, Amir. Good luck. Sorry, we have to get off the grid now. So the formation lap will start now. But now let's head back upstairs and we'll join you momentarily. In the Golf Radical Cup, we had two amazing races yesterday. We have one final race today to end the weekend for the Golf Radical Cup, and we'll have a total of 13 drivers who will take to the track. Now, I can tell you, unfortunately, we do not have Julien Monet, who had a problem with his car earlier today during qualifying. It's been a tough weekend for Julien as well. Apparently, it's an engine issue and he needs a new one for his car. Unfortunately, just not enough time for him to get a new one and get him ready for this race. So, unfortunately, no Julien Monet here in the Leighton House car. So we're down to just 13 drivers here in total for our Golf Radical Cup. Now, we spoke about ballast before because, of course, 5 of our drivers will have extra time in the pit lane, but we'll get to that shortly because now we have the start of the race here. The start of the only endurance race of the weekend, of round 5 here. It's been Ian Aguilera, the man to beat this weekend. He's been very, very rapid indeed over the course of 2 days. Put it on pole yesterday in both races and, of course, went pole in the endurance race earlier this morning. But Alex McCunstop as well, another story that has unfolded for him. He's not been feeling well, fresh off of his championship victory in LMP3 in the Asia Le Mans Series. And, well, now it seems to be he's back at full form here. And, of course, lining up on the first row of the grid. Luke Hilton and Alim Gasher will share the second row of the grid with Amir Faiz and Usman Magal on row number 3. The lights are on, the lights are out. We're racing here for the final time here at the Dubai Autodrome for our endurance race. 45 minutes of action as we're going to try and go 5 wide down towards the first corner here for the first time. Everyone's jostling for position Now they need to make sure and figure out where they're going to be through this first corner. We don't want any instances, especially in our 45-minute Enduro, because it's a very, very long race. The last thing you want is an issue this earlier on. But it looks like Ian Aguilera has broken through, and Amir Faisalin has really taken in consideration what George King was telling him on the starting grid. As he is up battling with Alex Buchanstov at the moment. He's trying to go too wide through Sector 2 here, and Luke Hilton just biding his time, waiting for something to happen here. And he's going to sneak up on the inside of Amir Faisalin. That's mighty close there for the Englishman as he works his way through, but not quite. And here comes Alim Gashev as well. He started further up the field than these three drivers, and he's dropped back. And he's now behind Luke Hilton. Try to go side by side on the exit through turn 9. That's not going to work out very well, but down the back straight we go here for the first time. It is Ian Aguilera who leads from Alex Buchanstov, our championship leader. And then Amir Faisalin as Buchanstov looks on the inside, but not close enough to make a move. He'll have to pick his opportunity right here. And, of course, he does not want to lose valuable championship points either, because, of course, behind him is Usman Magal. Not as in close proximity as Usman would like to be. But, of course, more championship points for him will help him claw back some time on the championship leader, which of course is the man in second position at the moment. Now, through Sector 2, quickest man through there was Alex Buchanstov with a 49.385, as Yahid Karim dropped back in 9th position. Briefly moving past Igor Sorokin, but it looks like Igor's got back through here at the Autodrome as we continue on here to complete the first lap with Ian Aguilera, making his way through turn 16 here for the first time, while the rest of the field sort of slots into a rhythm here. Car 15 and 76 under investigation for a race start infringement. Now, we didn't see anything on our screens. If there was a possible out-of-place manoeuvre by those two, it might explain why Amir Faisalin was so rapid to the front of the field as well, because, of course, he's one of the cars that's under investigation. The other car is Abdel Nasser Al-Hamidi, as Amir Faisalin all over the back of Luke Hilton at the moment. That is the battle for third place at the moment. Luke Hilton's got through and up into third. Fastest man out there for TT Racing, Ian Aguilera. Only 27, 207.726, purple through Sector 1 and Sector 3. Buchanstov was quickest through Sector 2 that time round. Luke Hilton and Alim Gashev moved down the order. Usman Magal also going the wrong direction as well. He's usually very quick on the opening laps as well. Maybe I shouldn't have had that chat with him and told him how great he is when it comes to starting the race. Maybe they might have put him off. And maybe a bit of performance anxiety there for him. But Abdel Nasser Al-Hamidi behind him at the moment. Igor Sorokin up into 9th. Johnny Kazum is 10th. Yul Strider up into 11th position. Ibi Hadid down into 12th. And Yahid Karim at the tail end of the field. Yul Strider didn't have the best of qualifying sessions earlier today either. It was one of the reasons why we had a red flag. But it's great to see him racing with us in our endurance round here for 45 minutes. Now, the pit window will open once we've lapped 17 minutes of the race completed, and will close at 26 minutes. So it's a 9-minute window that all the drivers must come into the pit lane and do at least one pit stop, and they must be stationary for at least 45 seconds. Now, that's for the majority of the field. However, for at least 5 of our drivers, we'll actually make it 4 drivers, because I know we don't have Greg Gorski here this weekend. Greg was part of the championship when he was in support of the 6 hours of Abu Dhabi a couple of weeks ago at the Yas Marina circuit. However, it's car 27, the man that's out in front that we're looking at right now. He'll be in the pit lane for the longest amount of time, 165 seconds, 45 seconds stationary, plus an additional 20 seconds due to his race victory in the previous endurance race. And that's how long he'll be stationary for. And on a summer's day like this, even though it's technically not summer, it certainly feels like it. It's going to feel like an absolute eternity there for Ian Aguilera. Car number 1 will be stationary for 60 seconds. That is Alex Buchanstov, the man who's currently running in second position at the moment. Car 77 is Alim Gashev. He'll be stationary for 55 seconds in total due to his third place finish in the endurance race last time out in round 4. Car 24 is Greg Gorski. We don't have him this weekend. He was the other car to have 45 seconds plus 5 seconds for a total of 50 seconds. And that's station 4 on car number 19, Igor Sorokin, who finished 5th in our endurance race a couple of weeks ago. He'll be stationary for a total of 50 seconds. The rest of the field, who have not got those additional time added to their pit stops, will have to be stationary for a full 45 seconds only. And in the Gulf Radical Cup, the timer does not start when you enter the pit lane. Instead, it starts when the car comes to a complete stop in its pit box. If the car comes in, goes out any quicker than 45 seconds being stationary, they will incur a penalty. And we've seen races lost last season, seasons before as well, due to just fractions of a second being miscalculated here in the Golf Radical Cup. And it's all down to the team. They're the ones that have the stopwatch in hand. They're the ones that have to start it right when the car comes to a complete halt. And when the car gets going again, or better yet, when the 45 seconds elapses, they have to turn the timer off and the car can be released. But for the drivers that have that additional time, they have to make sure that they do that additional time as well. And as we said, pit entrance to pit box, pit box to pit exit does not count in that 45 seconds. It must be completely stationary. And as you said, it's a different challenge compared to the sprint races that we had yesterday. Because of course, with the endurance round, there is that mandatory pit stop that, of course, the teams have to take into consideration. As Bukanstov is staying with Ian Aguilera, two of our drivers who have to be in the pit lane for additional time. Bukanstov only has to be in there 5 seconds less compared to Ian Aguilera. But the car that's in third, Luke Hilton, in the 27, well, that's a car that doesn't have any additional time to serve in the pit lane at all, or in his pit box. It will only be stationary for 45 seconds. It's going to be one to watch here. However, with those ailing issues of the fuel pump, which was the reason that cost him the victory in race 1, and of course came back to haunt him during qualifying, it is not something that he wants to deal with again here at the Dubai Autodrome. Now Alex Bukanstov goes quickly forward with a 2:04.656 for TT Racing. He's now 1/8 of a second behind our race leader Ian Aguilera. A warning flag has come out for track limits for Amir Faislin, and a 10-second penalty for race start infringement to be applied to Amir Faislin and the 76 car. So both Amir Faislin and the 76 is Abdel Nasser Al Hamidi will receive a 10-second penalty. Now that might be handed out at the end of the race for their time, and that is devastating for both the number 4, the 4th place car, and the car that's currently circulating in 8th, because of course Abdel Nasser Al Hamidi has returned to the championship, and there's not a way that he'd like to return with, is it, a penalty to be applied in the 3rd and final race of the weekend, as Jimmy Joe looks for an opportunity on the inside of Elim Gushev, but not close enough to make a move, so he slots in behind him once again. This of course is the battle here for 4th place between Faislin, Gushev and Cho. And of course, latching on the back of them here is Usman Magal. Not up to speed as we were yesterday. Of course, it's an endurance race, not a sprint race here, so they can maybe pick up the pace later on. But as we've seen so far during this day, it has been quite hot, which is quite surprising for the month of February. It's not usually this hot at all, with temperatures going over 30 degrees centigrade at the moment here. As we continue on lap number 4. 1/8 of a second is the gap between our race leaders Ian Aguilera and Alex Bukanstov. It's a further 1.4 seconds back to Luke Hilton. Amir Faislin is just 1/8 of a second up the road from Elim Gushev, with Jimmy Cho being 2/10 of a second back, and Usman Magal being a further 9/10 of a second back behind him. Fastest man across the timing line there this time round. The 2:04.419 was Ian Aguilera. Now Luke Hilton is the fastest man out there with a 2:04.220 for Valor Racing, the same team that he will run with in the United Kingdom when he does his campaign in the Golf Radical Cup in the UK. Now, interesting enough, is saying it's only 26 degrees centigrade outside. It certainly does feel hotter than that, though, at the moment. So we're looking at the 2-lane house cars now. Unfortunately, that's not the Julian Monet car. That's the Abdel Nasser Al Hamidi car that we're looking at here at the moment. The 76. That's one of the 2 cars that has that 10-second penalty looming over their head. And he's under pressure at the moment from Johnny Kazum in the number 5 car. No, he's not, because that is not Johnny Kazum's car behind him. That is the number 9 car by the looks of it. Sorry, the 19. Or is that the 99 car? I can't quite catch the number of it there. It does look like it's either Jon Strider's car. No, it has to be the 99 car that Abdel Nasser Al Hamidi is under pressure from, because Johnny Kazum's a little bit further back. As Jimmy Cho on the inside of Elim Gushev, lined it up nicely there through turn 10. Took the position away, says thank you very much, but Elim is not going to let him get away that easily. But this, of course, is allowing Amir Faislin to escape up the road at the moment. These two battling with one another, attacking and defending at the same time. It's slowing them down, but it's bringing Usman Magal closer to them as well, as Igor Sorokin now down into 11th position here at the Autodrome. currently shown as 11th overall, just ahead of Ibi Hadid by 1.4 seconds. Igor Sorokin was 1/6 of a second back from Johnny Kazoum, who is in a very unusual 10th position here in the Golf Radical Cup. He has moved up 3 places here at the moment. And quite unusual to see him that far down the order, the Lebanese driver. Of course, with plenty of time left on the clock, he has more than enough on his hands to get through. And of course, with the assistance of the pit stop and the scheduled pit stop, to say the least, it can work in his favour. If someone does get it wrong or overshoots the time or undershoots the time, it will certainly play out into his hands here. Circulating now on lap number 6. 1/8 of a second is the gap at front, but Buchanstone was quickest through sector 1. And Luke Hilton picks up the pace in 3rd position at the moment. He was quick through sector 2, going purple with a 48.695. 5.1 seconds ahead of Amir Faisalin, who is keeping Jimmy Cho at bay along with Olim Gashev and the Usman Magal driven number 21 at the moment. That's down in 7th position. One of our 2 championship hopefuls here, but however, if we take in consideration the amount of points that the drivers will deduct from themselves towards the end of the season, it could bring the likes of Olim Gashev, Jimmy Cho, Ian Aguilera and Luke Hilton into the mix as well. Amir Faisalin's going to have to fight very, very hard if he wants to be part of this championship fight. I do think from at least those who have scored 60+ points, it might be mathematically possible. So maybe Luke Hilton is an outside chance, but certainly Ian Aguilera could be one, especially if he continues this form here, with race victory after race victory. Won last time out in the endurance round of the Aston Marina circuit a couple of weeks ago. Won our first 2 races yesterday. And looking on point here for a 3rd victory outright here. Jimmy Cho appears to have had a problem. He's not come through sector 1, whereas Olim Gashev has. Now, we do see his car on track, so that's possibly a transponder issue through sector 1 at least, because he's ticked over through sector 2. And the good news is there for Jimmy Cho fans that he is still circulating. So it might just be sector 1 is where he's having that issue with timing. As there you can see in the front of our pictures there ahead of Olim Gashev and Usman Magal, the 21 car we've just picked up here on screen. The Pakistani driver who lives in the United Kingdom enjoys his time here in the Golf Radical Cup and has sporadically appeared over the past couple of years. Great for him to be here full-time this season. And of course, vying for a championship here at the tail end of this 4-car train. And just behind him is the battle for 8th position between Abdul Nasser Al Hamidi, Yul Strider, Johnny Kazoum. Of course, Igor Sorokin lurking in the background as well. Great to see Igor Sorokin back in the championship as well. Did the full campaign with us last time. As Yul Strider looks on the inside of Abdul Nasser Al Hamidi. A great move there, but Al Hamidi's going to fight back through turn 2. Tries to go in each and every way. And there is the 22 car of Ibi Hadid. What has happened to the man that sits in 12th position? Now, is that towards turn 16? Yes, it is. It's right at the exit as well. Now, there are local yellows down through turn 16. The green flag waves on the starting gantry. That is not good news for the Canadian here. And that car will have to be moved out of the way because, of course, that was the exit of turn 16 as well, where we do see a number of cars run wide through that corner, especially when they're locked in battle. Now, what does this mean here for our drivers? There is a yellow flag being prepared, so possible safety car could be deployed here unless Ibi Hadid can get that car refired. Now, there is a breakaway point just behind him as well, so the marshals could drag him back behind there. And the safety car board is out. The safety car has been deployed here for Ibi Hadid, who unfortunately is stuck at the exit of turn 16 here at the Dubai Autodrome. And he gets out of his car. So it certainly is a mechanical issue or an electrical issue there for Ibi Hadid as he sprints over to the opening. And he will hop off the track. And then the recovery vehicle will be on site to pick up Ibi Hadid's car and pull it behind the wall there. It should be a relatively brief safety car as well, as the safety car waits to pick up our race leader. So we will have a look at the replay here. We can see what happens to Ibi Hadid coming through turn 16. And as it starts, it does start right about here. It certainly does, and just looks like no power there, no brakes to be honest with Ibi Hadid. Let's see if we can get an update on him. Well, the good news is that he is okay. We have seen him get out of the car, so that's great news there for the Canadian that he has hopped out of the vehicle. But unfortunately, he will be be taking no further part in this endurance race here for the Gulf Radical Cup, and the pit window will open in around 1.5 minutes time here. The safety car has picked up Ian Aguilera, Alex McCunchdorf, Luke Hilton, Mid-Phase Lin Jimmy Cho, Alim Gashev, Usman Magal, Abdul Nasser Al-Hamidi, Johnny Kazoum, Jon Strider, Igor Sorokin and Yahid Kardim have all been picked up by the safety car. And it looks like this time round they actually might see that the pit window is open. Now, how it works in the Gulf Radical Cup is before they come into the pit lane, despite it being open, they have to see that the pit lane is open via the board that sticks out at the starting gantry. They cannot come in before that. We are aware that teams do have team radios here to communicate with the drivers to inform them when they need to come in, but with a safety car here, this potentially throws a spanner in the works here and can shuffle the order a fair bit. Now, of course, this is the best time to take the mandatory pit stop, because of course you'll lose the least amount of time when the safety car has been deployed, because of course the field is neutralized, there's no overtaking, unless of course you're in the pit lane. Of course then you, for example, Ian Aguilera comes in the pit lane, Alex McCunchdorf will go into the lead of the race. That is not a pass on track, it's a pass to the pit lane, so that is completely legal. But of course with the additional time as well for these drivers, it is a great time to come in and do this pit stop here. Rather than waiting it out. However, it looks to be that the safety car has come out at the not so opportunist time for our drivers here. As we look at Yahid Kardim, who's just joined the end of the safety car queue here in the Gulf Radical Cup, as Ian Aguilera takes a breather. Of course, now the rhythm sort of slows down here. It gives the drivers a chance to catch their breath and embrace themselves for pit lane. So pit lane now is officially open. The pit window has opened up and it'll be open for a total of 9 minutes. So it opens up when we've completed 17 minutes of the race, and then at the 28-minute mark, with the total amount of time that we have elapsed, the pit window will be closed for all the drivers, and they must come in before that time as well. They cannot come in after the 28-minute mark has been completed for the race. If they do, they will incur a penalty, and we've seen that happen as well in the past here in the Gulf Radical Cup. And as we said before, it has cost drivers race victories, especially the ones that have fought very hard. And the endurance round has really played in their favour and could have potentially given them their first victory in the Gulf Radical Cup. We've seen it before, it can happen, but it's all down to the teams to figure out what the strategy will be. So all the drivers will come past the pit lane entrance now. They cannot come in this time round. They have to wait to see the board before they can come into the pit lane. Now, of course, all the teams and the drivers will want is they'll want the safety car to be out as long as possible so they can get their pit stops done next time round, and then of course lose the least amount of time, because the longer the safety car is out, the better it is to come into the pit lane to serve that drive to penalty. It's not a drive to penalty, it is a mandatory pit stop that they must do. Of course, they'll see it this time round, so they see that the board is visible on the left-hand side. As you can see, Ibi Hadid's car being extracted from turn 16. That takes the Canadian's car out of harm's way, and of course that will be dragged into pit lane. Very unfortunate there for Ibi Hadid. He's shown some pace over the course of the championship and has continuously got quicker and quicker as the season has progressed. It was only a matter of time before we finally saw him on the podium for the first time in the championship. He'll have to wait for another round. He'll have to wait through at least round 6 in the Gulf Radical Cup here. It is, of course, Ian Aguilera, having completed 8 laps here around the Dubai Autodrome ahead of Alex McCunchdorf and Luke Hilton. Those 3 are your top 3. Top 2 for TT Racing. And of course, then we have the Valor Racing car of Luke Hilton, which of course run the same car in the United Kingdom in the Radical Cup UK. Mid-Phase Lin spent some time in Radical Cup in the United Kingdom as well a couple of years ago to improve his racecraft with racing some of the best in the world. Alim Gashev in 6th position joined the championship a few years ago and has continuously gotten better and challenged for race victories. Could have been a championship hopeful as well. Well, he might technically be in still for a chance of the championship title at the end of the season with the rounds that can be dropped. And let's see what he can do towards the tail end of this championship season. We still have 2 rounds to go after this for a total of 6 races. 4 sprint races offering 15 points apiece for a race victory, and 2 endurance rounds that are offering 25 points for a victory. But of course, round 7, as we mentioned on the grid walk, there is double points on offer during the final round of the championship, and it looks like we're going to go racing this time round. The safety car has left Ian Aguilera to deal with the rest of the field now, and it's up to Ian Aguilera to back Alex Bukunchtov into the rest of the field and get that getaway that he so desperately wants. But who will come into the pit lane first? Will they decide to come in now, or they do 1 lap and then come in? Well, only time will tell, as Ian Aguilera brings the field round at turn 14 here on the restart in the endurance race of the Gulf Radical Cup. This, of course, is round 5, race 3 of the weekend. Will he turn right or will he turn left? It looks like he's going straight for the pit lane. Bukunchtov stays out. Luke Hilton is in. Amir Faison is in. Jimmy Cho is in as well, followed by Yol Strider by the looks of it. It was like Johnny Kazum. No, it's number 5 that's coming in. Yahid Kardim has also come in. That means Bukunchtov, Alim Gashev and Usman Magal will be your top 3 this time round, followed by the Leighton House car of Nasser Al-Hamidi. Yol Strider and Igor Sorokin will come across the line, and that will shuffle up the order. So the top 8 have not come in. Amir Faison, Jimmy Cho, Johnny Kazum, Yahid Kardim, and Ibi Hadid is out of the race. Unfortunately, it's Ian Aguilera and Luke Hilton that is also in the pit lane. So a big shuffle there. We have a total of 6 cars on track. I think we have a total of 6 cars in the pit lane, which makes things quite interesting here. Now, of course, they'll be stationary for 45 seconds. There you can see all the teams with stopwatches, in hand. Closest to our picture there is the Valor Racing 32 car of Luke Hilton. He will only have to be stationary for 45 seconds, while others around him may have to be stationary for a little bit longer. But Bukunchtov leads here. Usman Magal, the number 21 car that we're currently looking at, is chasing down Alex Bukunchtov. Now I can hear some radicals refiring. There is Johnny Kazum. You can see Amir Faison exiting pit lane in the background. Johnny Kazum, one of the drivers, will be stationary for 45 seconds. Now that's a very close exit there for Amir Faison and Jimmy Cho. Now it seems to be they were able to get the jump on Luke Hilton there as well. So is Luke Hilton there stationary for longer, or has somebody been a bit quick to jump the gun there? Overtakes for car 5 and 76 under investigation for conditions under investigation. Now that means they will be overtaking. That's Johnny Kazum and the Abdel Nasser Al-Hamidi car that is currently circulating in 4th place. That you can just see in our pictures there. The bright blue Leighton House car is under investigation there for possible overtake behind the safety car. Now, when will championship leader Alex Bukunchtov come into the pit lane? Will he come in this time round? And will Alim Gashev follow him into the pit lane as well? Now, the camera pans over to the right. We can certainly have a look at who will take to the pit lane at this time round. Well, it looks like Usman Magal and Abdel Nasser Al-Hamidi will stay out. Alex Bukunchtov and Alim Gashev come into the pit lane together. So that leaves Usman Magal now out in front ahead of the Abdel Nasser Al-Hamidi number 76. There is championship leader and defending champion Alex Bukunchtov, who will be stationary for 45 seconds plus 10 seconds. 15 seconds for a total of 60 seconds. He'll be stationary. 14 Aguilera, who had the 20 seconds additional to his time added in the pit lane for a stationary time for 65 seconds. There is Jimmy Cho, who got now back past Amir Faison. It was a very tight release there for Jimmy and Amir Faison. Jimmy now out in front of Amir Faison as they continue on here. There is Alex Bukunchtov, Yol Strider, Igor Sorokin, Alim Gashev is the 4th car in the background. As some necessary changes there going on for Alex Bukunchtov's car. The ever so important race tape going into the passenger side footwell for Bukunchtov. Now I wonder if there's something loose as the countdown begins here for Yol Strider. Hold and let Alim Gashev through for a safe release, and here comes Jimmy Cho through the final corner. Will he take the lead here? Yes, he will. Jimmy Cho will now go into the lead of the race because Alex Bukunchtov has just been released and is not up to speed. However, Jimmy Cho, Amir Faison and Johnny Kazum will now run 1st, 2nd and 3rd as they come through, because Usman Magal will need to come into the pit lane. Now car 32 cutting the entry pit lane is under investigation. That's Luke Hilton, and it did look like a late a call there for Luke Hilton, because we did see him, he kind of hesitated if he was going to stay out. I believe the team said, no, you need to come in now, and it seems to be that he crossed that line where he shouldn't have done, and now is under investigation. That could be a possible penalty there for Luke Hilton and Valor Racing as Bukachnov gets past Joel Strider there after coming out of pit lane. Now, where is Usman Magal at the moment? He is currently shown as still on track. Abdel Nasser Al-Hamidi is not coming either. Now, do we see the Pakistani driver come in this time round? Well, he needs to, or else that pit window will close. Now, the siren has gone off for pit lane. That means there is a car coming in, and Usman Magal and Abdel Nasser Hamidi have both come in here. So our second place driver in the championship has entered pit lane, and he does not need to be stationary for any longer than 45 seconds. Now, can he beat Jimmy Cho? Can he beat Alex Bukachnov and the rest of the field out there as Abdel Nasser Al-Hamidi in the 76 car on his return to the championship? And there is Alex Bukachnov, championship leader, about halfway through this lap as well, which is not good news for Usman Magal, because there's less than 45 seconds between Alex Bukachnov and crossing the start-finish line. There is the team with the stopwatch in hand, holding Usman Magal in place, and this is very crucial for Magal. And the countdown begins. 4, 3, 2, 1. And Usman Magal is released, but where is Alex Bukachnov in all of this? He is currently working his way through Sector 3. The countdown finishes there for Abdel Nasser Al-Hamidi. Has to be careful, though, of Usman Magal. Now, there is the shot of the front straightaway. Jimmy Cho on the right-hand side of your picture. Amir Faislin and Johnny Kazoum, followed by Alim Gashev by the looks of it. And there is, on the left-hand side, Usman Magal and Abdel Nasser Al-Hamidi. And it is Jimmy Cho who will go into the lead of the race here, ahead of Amir Faislin. Usman Magal will slot into third, with Abdel Nasser Al-Hamidi being fourth. So that was a great strategy there from both Usman Magal and Abdel Nasser Al-Hamidi's team. Also say teams, because they are not running in the same team here this weekend. Golf Sport Racing running Usman Magal, and Abdel Nasser Al-Hamidi is being run by Leighton House. There is the race leader, Jimmy Cho, out in front, ahead of the 15, followed by the 21 car of Usman Magal. This is exactly what Usman needs, especially in the endurance race where there are more points on offer for him. And of course, it could help him claw back some points from Alex Bukachnov, who was our championship leader, who has not come through in the picture just yet, so he may be a bit further back here. Now, is that the number one that's popped into view? It certainly looks like the one that's popped into view. The exit of turn 9. There is Alim Gashev at the tail end of Johnny Kazoum. The pit window now is officially closed, but the good news is that all of the drivers have come in and done their mandatory 45 seconds. And just look how it's impacted both Bukachnov and Ian Aguilera. Down now outside of the top 5 are both drivers, with Jimmy Cho looking for his first victory of the weekend here. He's currently now out in front, but by how much is the gap between himself and the number 15 of Amir Faislin? Well, we'll wait to see when they come across the line, as they're working their way through Sector 3 now for the 12th time here at the Dubai Autodrome. As Usman Magal trying to track down Amir Faislin here to bag as many points as he can. There he is, second place in the championship at the moment. This is crucial for him, outscoring championship rival Alex Bukachnov. As Jimmy Cho across the line, ahead by 2.4 seconds to the good. Then it's a further 2.4 back to Usman Magal. Abdel Nasser Al-Hamidi. Car 5 and 76 receive a drive-through penalty for overtaking under safety car condition. And that is very sad news there for Johnny Kazoum, who unfortunately picks up a drive-through penalty that he'll have to serve before the end of the race. Well, for Johnny Kazoum, the weekend goes from bad to worse here. Very unfortunate for the Lebanese driver. And the 76 of Abdel Nasser Al-Hamidi will also receive a drive-through penalty for overtaking under safety car conditions. We didn't quite catch that on our screen, but that's very unfortunate. And for the Abdel Nasser, that is not the only penalty that he's picked up as well. He also picked up a 10-second penalty for the race start infringement as well, as with Amir Faislin. So technically, Usman Magal is actually second at the moment. And the two cars that are behind him, Al-Hamidi and Kazoum, that means Gashev is third at the moment. As there you can see Amir Faislin working his way through turn 10. And that is very unfortunate. Usman Magal keeping Abdul Nasser Al Hamidi, Johnny Kazoum and Alim Gashev behind him for the time being. Luke Hilton's pit entry is still under investigation as well. We'll give you an update when we can. With 15 minutes left on the clock here at the Dubai Autodrome for our final race of round 5 here in the Golf Radical Cup. It's Jimmy Cho who leads by 2.4 seconds to the good and looking for possibly his first race victory of the weekend. Let's just double check the standings if it is his first race victory of the season. As we'll have a look at the point standings and that will confirm if Jimmy has been a race winner this season. By the looks of it, he has not. He scored 15 points in the endurance race, however it's 25 points for victory, so third place is Jimmy's highest finishing position so far by the looks of it. Indeed it is. So he's not been on the second step of the podium this season, and he's not been to the first step either. He could be on track here for his first outright victory in the Golf Radical Cup. And he leads by 2.6 seconds at the moment. He's 3 seconds up the road as well from... oh, sorry, that's Usman Magal that's 3 seconds back from Amir Faisalin. But of course, Amir Faisalin will lose out on that position due to that 10-second penalty. Now, interestingly enough, there is no board to indicate to Johnny Kazoum or the 76 of Abdul Nasser Al Hamidi that they have to do a drive-through penalty anywhere. Unless it's further down the starting line than we have seen in previous races, which is possible. But from our position here, we cannot see that a drive-through penalty needs to be issued to those two cars. Now, of course, in the Golf Radical Cup, they must serve it within 3 laps of being notified about it. However, there don't seem to be any notifications on track that they have a penalty that will be applied to them. As there is Jimmy Cho, seems to have still that issue through Sector 1 and possibly now through Sector 2 for timing. He still is in the lead of the race ahead of Amir Faisalin. And he's just gone across Sector 2 now, so it's a Sector 1 issue still for our race leader. But he still is indeed in the lead of the race here by 2.6 seconds over Amir Faisalin in the number 15 car. Usman Magal circulating in third, but it would be second at the line. So, of course, 10 seconds is not the gap between Faisalin and Magal. It is 3 seconds at the moment. Now, the team may have notified him as well during the pit stop cycle to inform him that the car in front of him may have a penalty, although we may not have known that he would be in front of him. Car 99 will receive a warning about track limits. Luke Hilton is being asked to report to the steward's office after the race. We'll be questioning as to why that hesitation there. Now, Luke Hilton, unfortunately, doesn't look up to be up to speed again this time round. After pit stops have been completed, he's now down into the 9th position, losing 6 places from where he started here earlier today in our 45-minute Enduro. 11.5 minutes remain on the clock here in our final race of the weekend of round 5. Jimmy Cho leads from Amir Faisalin by 3.1 seconds. It is 3.8 seconds back to Usman Magal. Al Hamidi is 1.3 seconds back. He's got Alim Gashev all over the back of him at the moment. That's Johnny Kazoum, actually, who is now between Al Hamidi and Gashev. And Gashev now trying to find a way past and through up into 5th position. Doesn't need to fight too hard with Johnny Kazoum, because of course he has that drive-through penalty that he needs to serve. Or at least it says that they have to serve it on our screen. We haven't seen either himself as Johnny Kazoum looks on the inside of Alim Gashev. We haven't seen that move. Oh, and there's contact there between Alim Gashev and Alex Mukunchtov as well. It was a late lunge from Alex Mukunchtov at the line through turn 10. He did a good job there to not make that more than it could have been. It dives to the inside through turn 12 for Alex Mukunchtov and Alim Gashev. That moves it now up into 6th position. Alim Gashev is going to fight back through the bowl complex and go side by side. And here is a replay of Alim Gashev and Johnny Kazoum. And of course, Alex Mukunchtov is part of this as well. So, Kazoum on the inside, and Alim Gashev tries to shut the door on him. A little bit of contact there, but then watch Alex Bukanstov here. I don't think Alim Geshev thought Bukanstov would be there. And ever so slight contact there between the two of them. Not enough to do a lot of damage to the car, though, for either driver, as they went side by side through the bowl. But who's got the better of them? Alim Geshev has got it in front, but Bukanstov has lost out to Ian Aguilera, and they're going to go side by side. They almost touch, barely a piece of paper fits in between them as Johnny Kazoum cuts the nose off of Alim Geshev through turn 1. That could have been devastating, but the Lebanese driver with a wealth of experience knew what he was doing. That was mighty close there for Johnny Kazoum as well, for Ian Aguilera and Alex Bukanstov. As these 4 cars here battling for what is 5th position at the moment. Alex Bukanstov looking at the inside of Ian Aguilera, who is indeed looking at the inside of Alim Geshev. 3 cars trying to look for the same piece of real estate here on track. Didn't quite work out well for them as they work their way through turn 9. Tucked in behind Alim Geshev and Johnny Kazoum for the time being. It's very unfortunate that Johnny Kazoum has that penalty to serve. That still hasn't been notified, at least on the track, as Alim Geshev tries to go around the outside. Bukanstov on the inside of Aguilera. Bit of a lock up there from Aguilera, who goes sideways through turn 10, but keeps all 4 wheels pointing in the right direction and continues on. But that slows him down from Alex Bukanstov, who continues on out in front of him at the time being. Geshev, though, back past Johnny Kazoum for the time being. Up now, back into 5th position goes Alim Geshev. Great race here as well for the Lebanese driver, up 7 positions now from where he started. Our time screens are just so 8, but of course that there has been a change of position between Geshev and Kazoum, and here comes Alex Bukanstov. He would like to work his way up the order as well and score some more points to make Usman's life a bit more difficult here. As Bukanstov looks on the inside through turn 15. Down towards turn 16. He's got to be careful because he's got Ian Aguilera all over the back of him as well. As this is allowing Alim Geshev to escape up the road and try and chase down Abdelnasser Al-Hamidi. As a 3 exit turn 16 here for the 16th time there they come across the line. Now what will happen through turn 1? We're going to try and go 3 wide. Johnny Kazoum tries to break the toe, but Bukanstov follows him through. Looks now on the inside down towards turn 1. And that's exactly how you win a championship, by doing what Alex Bukanstov does best. And Ian Aguilera wants a taste of this as well. He's got a good exit through turn 1 and 2. Looks through turn 3 now on the inside of Johnny Kazoum. That's not going to work, Kazoum. You've got to be careful. Ian Aguilera's on the inside, but Kazoum has the inside line for the next corner. But Ian Aguilera has the better run through the sequence of corners, but Kazoum will fight back once again as we work our way through turn 6 and 7. And Ian Aguilera has gone through now. Johnny Kazoum unfortunately loses 2 positions there through the first sector. With 7 minutes remaining on the clock here at the Dubai Autodrome for our final race of the weekend. Warning flag for car 77, that's Alim Geshev, for multiple track limit infringements. He's got to be careful because he could pick up a 5-second penalty towards the end of the race here. Cho from Faisalin, from Mughal, Al-Hamidi, Geshev, Kazoum, Bukanstov, Aguilera, Hilton, Strider, Sorokin, and Yahid Karim are your 12 drivers on track, but there has been a shuffle, of course, because Kazoum is now behind both Bukanstov and Ian Aguilera. And Luke Hilton dropping further back at the moment, 4.3 seconds. But the gap up front, 4.7 seconds separate the 87 and 15 car. But remember, Amir Faison has a 10-second penalty to deal with, plus a drive-through penalty for overtaking under safety car conditions. But we've still not seen anything on track. I can see the drive-through penalty board has come back, so maybe that was shown to them, or is it not been shown to them? The question still remains a mystery, as there is a black and white flag being shown to the 77 of Alim Geshev, who comes mighty hot there through turn 16 and tries to get past Abdelnasser Al-Hamidi. Contact there between the two of them down the front straight, and Bukanstov is seeing what's happening here, and he's staying behind them for the time being, as Abdelnasser Al-Hamidi loses now 2 positions, as on the inside goes Alex Bukanstov. As they lean on each other, there was definite contact between the two of them, and Bukanstov not happy about that either. Hands up in the air. As there is Johnny Kazoom now being hunted down by Luke Hilton at the moment in the 32 car, as Johnny Kazoom loses ground to Ian Aguilera, who is next up on Abdel Nasser Al Hamidi, which will try and go around the outside through turn 9. That's not where he wants to be, but certainly has the grip to do it, as he works his way around and takes the position away, and he's released from the clutches of Al Hamidi and continues on. And there is Ousmane Magal, currently circulating in third overall, 4.6 seconds back, which is still good news for him because he's still within 10 seconds of the man that's in front of him. Amir Faisalin is the man that has 10 seconds to be applied to his time at the end of the race. As does Abdel Nasser Al Hamidi, who unfortunately is dropping the wrong way at the moment, as he falls behind Ian Aguilera. And Luke Hilton now all over the back of Johnny Kazoom at the moment. Car 5 and 76 reported to the stewards for failure to serve drive-through penalty. Now, I'm inclined to believe that possibly they might not have been able to see that because we weren't able to see it either from our position. But that will also be quite costly for cars 5 and 76 for not serving that drive-through penalty. Now, I'm not sure where that board would have been shown, because usually it's where the black and white flag is being shown at the moment on the front straightaway. Or if not there, it's shown a little bit further forward, and we didn't quite see that board. However, it has reappeared, at least on the pit lane side of things, so it definitely was shown to them at some point, but just where it was, it might have been difficult to spot, as Bukhanstov tries to sniff an opportunity on Alim Gashev, not close enough to make a move through turn 1 on lap number 19 here around the Autodrome. 4.2 seconds is the gap between Jimmy Cho and Amir Faisalin. There's the gap between Jimmy Cho and being on the top step of the podium for the first time in the Golf Radical Cup. Just over 3 minutes remain on the clock here for Jimmy Cho, who leads from Amir Faisalin as Alex Bukhanstov all over the rumble strips. Bouncing around. That's not what he wants to do, because well, we heard yesterday that Julien Monet had a broken seat and it possibly is down to driving over the rumble strips. As there is Amir Faisalin on the right-hand side, followed by Ousmane Magal. And then it's this battle here between Alim Gashev and Alex Bukhanstov for 4th overall. Bukhanstov will look to the inside. These two have had a little bit of contact here before through turn 10, but they continue on through 11 and 12 now. Bukhanstov trying to get closer to Alim Gashev to try and shorten that deficit between himself and Ousmane Magal's point-scoring tally in this race, because at the moment Ousmane Magal is outscoring him, and during the endurance round, all points are much heftier compared to a standard sprint race. Because with a sprint race, you get 15 points for a victory, 25 points for an endurance race victory. For Ousmane Magal, who's currently circulating in 3rd, however, with the number 15 car of Amir Faisalin just in front of him, who has that drive-through penalty, and of course that 10-second, sorry, not drive-through penalty, the 10-second penalty to deal with towards the end of the race. That means Ousmane Magal will finish in 2nd, which is 18 points. So he'll claw back at least 3 points on a race victory from the sprint race. And Alex Bukhanstov, who's currently circulating in what looks to be 5th at the moment, but for how much longer? Because now he has race 1 and 2 winner Ian Aguilera all over him. Well, with a 5th place finish, that gets him 10 points. That means Ousmane Magal will claw back at least 8 points on him here in the endurance race. And things are getting very interesting here for 4th place overall. Alim Gashev, Alex Bukhanstov and Ian Aguilera. As Bukhanstov looks on the inside, and Ian Aguilera is just looking for an opportunity for both of these two to come together, just kind of like that, through turn 7 and turn 8. As Bukhanstov looks to go around the outside through turn 9. We saw Ian Aguilera do this on Abdel Nasser Al Hamidi, and Ian Aguilera is going to look on the inside of both of them. Looks to go side by side with Alim Gashev down the back straight now, trying to follow Bukhanstov here. As there is Ousmane Magal, and you'll see that Alex Bukhanstov is closing in on him as well. Not a lot of time left on the clock. It is 30 seconds as we make our way down the back straight here. As Ian Aguilera looking for a way on the inside of Alim Gashev. Hashtag avoiding action there through the exit of turn 10. And there is the championship leader, currently being outscored by his championship rival by at least 8 points. Will now make that less because, of course, with that position gained, that means Bukanstov is in 4th overall, and that is 12 points, so he's only losing 6 points to the man in front of him. But for Jimmy Cho, who comes around the final corner here, it'll be his first race victory in the Gulf Radical Cup, and what a great way to end the weekend as well for Jimmy. With the checkered flag waving, he gets his first victory in the Gulf Radical Cup. Amir Faisalin will come across line in 2nd, but because of that 10-second penalty, he dropped down the order. How far back is Usman Magal, and how far back is Alex Bukanstov in all this as well? As Usman Magal comes across the line, 3.7 seconds back, 3.5 seconds back from Usman Magal is Alex Bukanstov, and that means Amir Faisalin is not 10 seconds ahead of either Usman Magal, Alex Bukanstov, and possibly Alim Geshev as well. And with the gap being 9/100ths of a second at the line between Ian Aguilera and Alim Geshev, he could possibly be outside of the top 5 here at the Dubai Autodrome. But there is your race winner for the first time in the Gulf Radical Cup. He'll be absolutely elated with Jimmy Cho in the 87 car. He's been on the podium twice this season already in 3rd place, but he's not yet visited the top step of the podium, and there's no better way to do it other than the endurance race. The 45 minutes he's endured the whole way, and the team strategy was absolutely perfect there for him. They got the call right, held him in his pit box for exactly 45 seconds, and released him onto the track where he took the lead of the race. Amir Faisalin across the line in 2nd. However, with that 10-second penalty, he will not be 2nd at the line. And here is the results as they were across the line. Jimmy Cho takes it from Amir Faisalin. TT Racing out in front, with Usman Magal for Gulf Sport Racing in 3rd. Bukanstov, Alim Geshev in 4th and 5th respectively, and Ian Aguilera in 6th, Abdelnassar Al-Hamidi in 7th, Luke Hilton 8th, Johnny Kazoum 9th, and Yor Strider 10th. Rounding out the drivers is Igor Sorokin and Yahid Karim, with Ibi Hadid having problems earlier on, which caused our first safety car just before the pit lane opened. Unfortunately, did not finish this race. So that brings an end to the weekend for the Gulf Radical Cup. That means we have one more podium presentation to get through, and it will be Jimmy Cho on the top step of the podium, Usman Magal and Alex Bukanstov, as the timing screen has now corrected itself in front of us, and that drops now Amir Faisalin down to 6th place, because of course Ian Aguilera was 9/100ths of a second behind Alim Geshev at the line, which puts him into the top 5. That drops Amir Faisalin down to 6th. Abdelnassar Al-Hamidi has dropped down to 9th. Behind Luke Hilton and Johnny Kazoum, but both Kazoum and Al-Hamidi both have to go see the stewards after the race, as does Luke Hilton as well, for various incidents that have happened on track. So you'll see now the 87 pull into the #1 position there in Parc Ferme, and he'll be absolutely delighted to do that for the first time here in the Gulf Radical Cup. To his left will be Usman Magal, and to his right will be, well, he'll actually be surrounded by 2 championship drivers. The 2 championship protagonists will be alongside this man right here. Jimmy Cho very excited for a victory there. Usman Magal will slot into the 2nd place position there, so that's a good points haul there for him. But unfortunately, Alex Bukanstov also benefits from those penalties, and will slot into the 3rd position there, from starting 2nd on the grid. Finishing in 2nd, a great way there to end the day, and a great way to end the weekend as well for Alex Bukanstov, who has endured a lot this weekend, not just a 45-minute endurance race, but of course an illness as well. And there he is, shaking hands with the team for a job well done. Again, they also calculated to perfection, because of course he had that additional time that he had to serve in the pit lane as well. So why don't we check out some highlights here of our final race of the weekend of round 5, race 3. So that brings us an end here to race 3 of round 5 here at the Autodrome for the Golf Radical Cup. We'll, of course, have the podium presentation shortly, but for me, for now, we say goodbye and thank you so much for joining us. We will have the podium presentation, as we said, shortly, but stay safe wherever you are. And, of course, enjoy the rest of the day if you're here trackside at the Autodrome. There's plenty more racing action here. And, of course, we'll see the Golf Radical Cups back in action in 2 weeks' time right here at the Autodrome. So with a fantastic race done and dusted there, race 3 of the weekend for the Golf Radical Cup. It's time now for the podium presentation. And as always, let's bring them out in reverse order. Ladies and gentlemen, in 3rd place, please welcome Alex Bukanstov. In 2nd position, please welcome Usman Makar. And to the top step of the podium for the first time in the Golf Radical Cup this season, please welcome Jimmy Cho. And to hand out our trophies, we ask for the assistance of our amazing Marshall team here, and we've got 3 of them. We first invite Randy, as he'll be the one to present the 3rd place trophy to our 3rd place finisher in our 3rd race of the weekend, to Alex Bukanshnov. We'll then invite Fahad from the Marshalls team, as he'll be the one to hand over the 2nd place trophy in the Golf Radical Cup to Usman Makal. And last but not least, we invite Victor now to present the winner's trophy in our endurance race here. And that course goes the way of Jimmy Cho. And that wraps up a fantastic day of racing here for the Golf Radical Cup. We'll be back on track in 2 weeks' time, right here at the Autodrome. We say a big thank you to the drivers, the teams, the marshals, the crew, and everyone else involved, the crowd as well. Thank you so much for joining us here this weekend for the Golf Radical Cup. For now, we say goodbye.